You've finally found some great products to sell on Amazon. You're all excited because you've ordered them, they've arrived. Now what? Now we've got to ship them into Amazon, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. The process itself is not overly complicated. However, there are some intricacies that new sellers can trip up on. So I'm going to take you through the exact process to make sure you don't do what I do when I first started. That first shipment, I made a number of mistakes. So what I'm going to do is going to talk you through it to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes I did. Once you successfully send your items into Amazon, all that's left to do is sit back and watch the sales fly in. Let's break this down into simple steps that anyone can do, even if you're completely new to this. So what will you need before you get started? First up is obvious, your Amazon seller account. And then, obviously, you need your inventory. Finally, you need a few packing materials such as boxes and tape, some labels, and a printer. Let's dive in and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Step 1, log into your Amazon seller account. Head over to sellercentral.amazon.co.uk and log into your account. If you haven't set this up yet, then you've skipped a few steps. You'll need to do this first before you continue. You do also have to have a seller verification before you actually get access and can then send products in. So make sure you do that first. Step 2, we need to add your product to the inventory. You need to make sure that the product you want to ship is listed in your inventory. To do that, we go to the inventory tab and click add product. Enter an ASIN into the search bar, click on search, and the product will come up on the right hand side. Assuming that's the correct product, we can then click on it, and then we have options of the condition that we want to sell. We can sell new or used, sometimes collectible or refurbished. On this particular listing, it's simply new or used. So we click on new, and then we can click sell this product. It's going to open up a new page and it's going to have the product details, and then we can fill in exactly what we want to. And then we can put all the required information into the form. So here we have the new page and we can see this is the product we're looking to list. And if we scroll down, we can see everything in a red border means we have to fill it in. So let's go through that first. Now, the top line is for a SKU. If you don't put anything in here, Amazon will auto generate one, but it will be a random collection of letters and numbers. The way I work is I manually put in SKUs because I am looking to put as much information into this section as possible that's going to help me later down the line. So first up, what I do is I put the buy price in. Then I put where I have bought this product. Then I put the date. I then also put in the expected buy price. And finally, who found this product. I have some VAs, therefore I label who does that. Now, this box here is the quantity. This is if you were to be selling this via FBA, which is down here under the fulfillment channel. For me, I'm going to sell this via FBA, and if you're creating a shipment, you'll also be sending it via FBA. So if I click on FBA down here, which is the bottom one here, so you can see it says fulfilled by Amazon. If I click on this, the quantity box above will disappear. So now all that's left to do is put our price in. So I'm expecting this price. So now all that's left to do is to put the price in. I'm expecting this product to sell for £115. However, a good rule of thumb is to uplift your price upon sending it to Amazon, so that if there are any price fluctuations and the price does increase on Amazon, by the time your product gets there, you're not losing yourself money. So for this particular product, I'm going to start it off at £135. And then finally, even though we've already selected that we want to sell this as new, we are also going to have to put it in again. So you can see there are a number of options. We have new open box, and then different used categories. I just want to sell this as a brand new product, so I can click on new. So now everything's filled in. There are no more red boxes. We can scroll down. If you are selling in other territories, so on different marketplaces, you can see here you can toggle these on and off. I've got all of these turned off at the moment. I'm only selling in the UK, but you would be able to put different prices in for different marketplaces. Finally, we go down, we click save and finish. So here we have it. We have confirmation that it's ready to be listed via FBA. And then I'm going to click on either list as FBA if I want to then add some more products, or if I want to send it straight into Amazon on its own, I can just click list FBA and send to Amazon and move through to the shipping plan. So by clicking list as FBA, it then brings me through to all of my inventory, and you can see that this particular product is not yet in my inventory. It usually takes between 5 to 10 minutes, even sometimes 15 minutes to show up. So I'd simply just wait, refresh this a few times, and it would be on my inventory. Next up is the most important part, and we need to start making a shipping plan. So I've just come back to my home screen here so I can show you how to get to the manage inventory page from the home screen. So we go back up to our menu, go to inventory, and the top one, manage all inventory, and it will simply open up your inventory page again. And there you go, you can see the inventory page. From the inventory page, we can now select a number of items from our inventory that we want to send into Amazon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down. I'm going to select a few different items that I would like to ship into Amazon. Just selecting a number of different items at random. And then you can see down here, we have a little menus popped up. It tells me I've selected 8 different SKUs. And if you click here, we have a menu pop up. Now there's a few things that we can do here. This is how we can delete and close listings, and we can do a number of other things. But what we're doing today is we want to create a shipping. We want to send inventory into Amazon. So we can click send or replenish inventory. By clicking on that, it's going to take us through to the shipping plan. Here we have the send to Amazon page, and this is where we are going to create our shipment. So first up, we have different tabs. Now this tab here has automatically selected all of the products that I want to send into Amazon. All we need to do is look at each individual product to see if there are any prep requirements, and then we can say how many units need to be sent into Amazon. First up, we have our address, which needs to go in here. This is where the products are being sent from. Then we have a list of the different SKUs that we've already selected. We work through these individually, seeing if there are any prep requirements, and then we can say how many units are required. First up, we have the packing details. This is either individual units or packing templates. Now, when it comes to packing templates, this is more likely to be something for private label sellers or people doing wholesale, where you regularly have a large amount of products being sent into Amazon in the same amount of quantities. For an OA seller, you'll likely just be clicking on individual units. Next up, we have the prep categories. Now, Amazon has a lot of requirements when it comes to selling certain items. So for example, they might want items to be bundled together in a poly bag, or maybe fragile products be bubble wrapped. This is where Amazon will tell you whether it is required or not. Here you can see underneath this action, prep not required. And also it tells us that the labeling is by the seller. There is the option to get Amazon to label your products for you, but they do charge a small fee, about 20p per unit. And to be honest, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. You might as well do it yourself. It saves you money, saves your margins, and stops Amazon making mistakes. The number of stories I've heard of Amazon labeling the product with the wrong barcode, it just isn't worth the hassle. When it comes to the vast majority of products, prep is generally not required. I remember a handful of times I've ever had to bubble wrap something, and very rarely do I need to use a poly bag. This particular product here would need to be polybagged because it's a bundle. However, Amazon are not saying it's a requirement, but they would expect you to somehow bundle the product together. Once we've checked the prep and the labels, then we just need to put the quantities. So we can simply put however many we're going to send into Amazon, and then we click on ready to pack, and then you'll see up here the SKUs ready to send. It's gone from 0 to 1, and we can simply go down the line and we can say how many we have to send. You see here, this has now moved to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of this. The last thing to note here is products with an expiry date, you do need to put the expiry date in. One of the biggest mistakes I made is I prepped and packed a load of products, put them all into a box, taped it, labeled it, ready to go. Then I came to do this and realized I didn't know what the expiry dates were. So for the process of this, I'm just going to put an arbitrary date in. With your entire list ready to pack, we can move on to the next step. So you can see here, I've now got all of my SKUs ready to pack, and it tells me there are 8 up here. If, say, we've forgotten about a product and we haven't added it at the earlier stage, what we can do is click on this section here, which has got all FBA SKUs, and what it'll do is it'll bring up all of your FBA inventory, and then you can search through it to add other products. So for example, let's add this particular product here, and now it's added it and we have 9 SKUs available to send. So if we click back on that tab, it will then bring us up all of the products ready to send. There we go, everything is ready to send. Your item may get sent to a seller. When you get a sale, one of these other goods might get sent instead of yours because you haven't put your individual barcodes on them. Once we've printed these labels, we can then click on pack individual units, and it'll take us through to the next screen. At this point, a lot of people will go away, label all their products and start putting them into a box. That's exactly what I did on my first shipment. But this very important next step is something we need to pay attention to. Here we can see we have 4 different pack groups. Now the reason for this is because Amazon want to send our goods to different places. Now in Europe and the US, this can be for logistical reasons. In the UK, because of the size of the country, generally speaking, it's not to do with logistics, it's simply to do with the type of products. So here we have in pack group 1, this will be what we call just standard products. Then pack group 2 is oversized products. So these particular products will be going to a different warehouse for oversized products. And then the next 2 we have are likely to be dangerous goods. Sometimes, but very rarely, products of the same type, so in this instance, dangerous goods, can be split. And I believe it happens more in dangerous goods because of the type of product. So for whatever reason, this type of product is stored in one particular warehouse, whereas this is going to be stored elsewhere. This stage is so important to do before you start packing your boxes, simply because you will spend hours packing only to have to repack later. I did this on my first time and was absolutely gutted. Had to take everything out of the box, repack it, and then later I had to do it again when I discovered the expiry dates. I did this on my first time. I spent ages getting everything into the perfect size box, only to realise I had to unpack it and split the shipment. So what we now need to do is we need to click here. Will everything fit into a box? So in this particular instance, we could actually split it across multiple boxes because there's quite a few products. So by clicking multiple boxes, click confirm, and then you just, how many boxes do we need? So in this instance, I'm going to say 2. And then what you have to do is you have to say which products you're putting into which boxes. So we can go through and we can say put this half in one box, and then maybe these guys will have to go into the second box. So we say units 21 of 21, and we split them accordingly. Then what we need to do is we need to weigh them and we need to put the dimensions. Now this is very important. Boxes cannot weigh more than 23 kilograms, and anything above 15 kilograms needs to have a heavy warning label on. So if we put 15 kilograms for this one, and let's just say 23 for this one. Next up, we need the dimensions. Again, this is super important. No dimension can be longer than 63.5. The only time this is actually possible is when you have products that themselves are larger than that. And when that's the case, obviously you are allowed to send them in bigger boxes. Without the products themselves having longer dimensions on Amazon, you won't be able to send in longer boxes. If we type in some random numbers, and then we do have the option to add another box because we are sending 2 boxes in. So let's simply do that. And then we just need to say which box is which. So the items in this box correlate to here, and the items in this box correlate to here. Once we've done that, we can confirm the packing information. This has come out of a warning, like I mentioned, that anything over 15 kilograms needs to have heavy packaging, and it has to be on 5 sides of the box, so the top and the 4 sides. And then you can just dismiss the warning and confirm the packing information. So that first packing group is done. Now we need to go through and do the rest. So for example, these products, they might all fit into one box, so we can simply click everything will fit into one box, click confirm. Same thing, we do need to put the dimensions in, but we don't have to choose which boxes they're all going in, because of course we're only sending one box. Now, this is also an excellent warning. It's telling me, as well as the original warning we've had saying 15 kilograms must be clearly marked, etc., it's also telling me that my box volume is not meeting the expected size of the products. So I put in quite small size of the box there, and these are quite large boxes. So this is a warning that we can ignore, but it's a nice little prompt just to make sure we're checking everything, because sometimes we might just get things wrong. We might have forgotten to put stuff in the box. So it's a nice little warning, but ultimately we can ignore it. So I'll just go through and continue to fill these boxes. It's probably important to say at this point that with these such small quantities, I would not look to send them in. I'd wait till I had more products to send in. I should say at this point, with such small quantities of goods going in each individual box, I would probably wait to send the product. I'd probably wait until I had far more products to send in, because there's a little bit of a waste of money doing it like this. Okay, so there we have it. All 4 packing groups are sorted, and we have 5 boxes in total. So we can now click confirm and continue. You can see here it's confirming the fulfillment centers. So it's sending all of these different groups to different fulfillment centers. And here we can see it's given us the 4 different shipments. This particular one here was got 2 boxes, and these have got 1 box each. We can then say when the shipment's going to be sent, so I can click on today. We always want to click the small parcel delivery unless we are sending in pallets. And then here we have to choose how we're sending it. Now in this particular instance, I've selected some dangerous goods. So unfortunately, the UPS Amazon partner carrier is not available. We always want to send our products via UPS Amazon partner carrier if possible. This is because Amazon have created an excellent relationship with UPS where we get massively discounted prices to ship products into Amazon. It's far cheaper than any courier you could ever find yourself. In this instance, we can't use it because we have dangerous goods in our shipments. So these 2 shipments here, they are dangerous goods products. When it comes to the dangerous goods program, we have to unfortunately use a separate courier where we have to pay ourselves. If I click here, the non-partner carriers, I can still click UPS and click non-partner carrier. And what that does is that allows me to send via UPS. When it comes to non-partner carrier, I'm still going to use UPS. The difference here is that I now have to go to the UPS website and pay for my own shipping labels. I'll show you how to go through the process for ordering your own shipping labels through UPS for dangerous goods. However, before that, I want to go back and show you how to do it for non-dangerous goods. Now, the reason I've done it like this is because as things stand, we are looking to send in 4 separate shipments, but only 2 of them are actually dangerous goods. So what that means is when you get this scenario here, we would also have to pay for the shipping on the non-dangerous goods shipments. So instead, what we can do is we can go back, we can delete these 2 boxes, and then we can pay accordingly. Then we can use the UPS Amazon partner carrier and get dirt cheap shipping on these 2 shipments. This again was a massive learning curve because I was overpaying for shipping in normal products when I could have got a huge discount. So how do we go about doing that? Let's go back a step. So we can scroll back up to where it says pack individual units, and I can click on view and edit, and it's got all of the pack groups. But what we can do is we can go even a step further, and we go back to step 1, click confirmed inventory to send. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the dangerous goods items. So here we can see modify or remove. I can click on that and it's automatically taken out the shipment, and then I can do it to the other 2 units. So what that's done is that's removed the dangerous good items from the shipping plan. I can click back onto pack individual units, and now we have our 2 pack groups. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to re-enter the information, but we can do that very quickly. So there we have our 2 pack groups, and then we click on confirm and continue. Again, it's confirmed the fulfillment centers. So we have the 2 fulfillment centers, still got the date, and it's looking for the shipping options. And here you can see now we have the UPS partner carrier, and it's telling us we can ship all these products in for £6.12. I would highly recommend, when you can, to always use this option. There's a few reasons. Firstly, you'll never find it cheaper. Secondly, if anything gets damaged or lost on the way into Amazon and you've used the Amazon partner carrier, then you can get reimbursements through Amazon rather than having to fight the courier themselves. This £6.12 will automatically come up my Amazon account, so I don't actually have to physically pay up front. And UPS get priority over all other couriers, so actually you're going to get your items into Amazon quicker than if you say use the Parcel Force or FedEx. So now we just come down here, we have to accept the fees, accept the charges, click. And what this is going to do is it's going to create the shipping label and the FBA label. So here we have the 2 different shipment labels, and we can click here to either print it by thermal, or if we click on this option, it's the A4 option. You click on print and then it will come up in PDF form, and then you just simply print it off and stick it on the box. So there we have the 2 different labels. This is the shipping label, which UPS will need to see, and then this is the label for FBA, which the Amazon warehouse will be scanning and tracking. You can then finally click view tracking details. What that's going to do is bring up the tracking details for your shipments. In this instance, we've got 2 boxes, so there should be 2 tracking. We now need to visit the UPS website in order to book a collection. Yet another thing that I made a mistake with when I first started out was I assumed at this point UPS would just automatically come and collect the parcels from me. That's not the case. We need to go to the UPS website and book a collection. So I'll show you how to do that now. So if you just click on ups.com, it will then just take you to your local website. So for this, it's in the UK. You do need to create an account, but it's completely free. You want to click on ship. From the homepage, we click on shipping, and then we want to click schedule a collection. So with this, it's fairly simple. You just need to go through and follow the instructions, but there are a few tips I can give you. So the first tip is to enter your tracking number. Now, in this instance, once adding the tracking number, you can see a note comes up and it says the tracking number has been used for prepaid, so no further payment is required. This is because of Amazon's arrangement with UPS. If I wasn't to put this in, then they would expect, if I wasn't to put this in, I would have to pay a collection fee. There is another alternative. You can go to a UPS drop-off point and you can drop off your parcels completely free. For this particular example, we've created 2 shipments or 2 tracking labels. Therefore, we could put them both in, but actually you only need to put one in. And a top tip is save the ones you don't use, and then you can use them either for your personal use or you can use them if you're sending via dangerous goods. Because actually for dangerous goods, because you're paying for the shipment, you'd also have to pay for tracking. So instead of doing that, you can simply use an old tracking number that you've not used yet and it'll come up as prepaid. Then you simply put in the collection details, so that's going to be wherever they're picking the information up. You need to give them the number of packages and the weight, and then you can choose a time, a date and a time, and then simply any instructions. If you want email confirmation, just click next and then confirm all the details are correct. The final thing to show you is if we go back to when we had the dangerous goods shipment, if we were to go back and then add the dangerous goods to their own shipment, we would have to come to UPS and book our own shipping labels. So for that, from the homepage, simply click on ship and it's going to open up the page and you just need to follow the instructions. So there's going to be a whole load of different instructions, where you're sending it from, where you're sending it to. You're going to have various different details, including the parcel size and weight. You're also going to have to say what's in the box. And then you will have to pay for the shipping label. Again, don't forget to then book a collection afterwards. The final step of all this process is to go to the shipping queue, and then we'll see our shipments there. And what we can do is we can start to track the progress. Here's the shipping queue. Here's all the different shipments I have. And you can see over here the different statuses. So the one we've just done, we're working on. Then there's some that are ready to ship, delivered, receiving, in transit, closed, etc., etc. And we want to make sure that all of our products get to Amazon safely. So there we have it. Very simple, but there are a few things that can go wrong. Here are my 5 common mistakes for you to avoid. Not properly preparing your products according to Amazon's requirements. Using poor quality boxes that can get damaged during shipping. Not securing labels properly so they fall off or become unreadable. Sending too much inventory in too quickly. Make sure you get your numbers right. Not tracking your shipments to make sure that all of your products get to Amazon safely. Here's a few pro tips. Start with a smaller shipment for your first time to make sure you get a hang of it. Take photos of all your inventory going into the package so you can dispute any issues later down the line. Keep your shipping confirmation so that you can dispute things if you need to. Consider using an inventory management tool such as Seller Toolkit to help track your products going in and out of Amazon. So you've got this far and you've managed to follow what I've told you. That's it, you've done it. You've done your first shipment and it should be on the way to Amazon. Now all you need to do is sit back and watch the sales fly in. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe for more useful Amazon FBA content. Drop any questions you have in the comments below. Happy selling!